Hey guys, now in today's video, we're taking a look at a brand new robot, super powerful robot that is also pet friendly. It actually has anti-tangle technology that's going to allow it to clean your home. And if you have hairy pets like we do, you won't have to worry about all the things it picks up. Today, we're going to take a look at the Eufy X8 Pro. We're going to see it in action, see it mop and clean. We're going to see why this could be your next robot. Let's go and check it out. Now, as you heard, this robot is a very powerful yet small robot, and it's also relatively quiet too. This robot has great suction power, and it also has the ability to work with pet hair and not have to worry about it getting locked up in the actual robot. It has anti-tangle technology. In addition to that, you're going to be looking at this robot does a really good job about picking up these hairs. We're talking about 89.3% of the pet hair is actually being captured. Now, the other thing I love about robots is that this one in particular has a 45-day storage dustbin, which means you're not going to continually have to clean this. Let's face it, that's over a month worth of storage that you can handle with this robot. Now, this robot does come with an intelligent app, Apple and Android, and it's going to allow you to set zones. It's going to allow you to program how you'd like this robot to clean. It's just going to make it super easy to basically control all the cleaning needs of your home. And that's one of the things that really sets apart robots of this type, where you can actually have it go to specific areas and maybe work certain routines or certain areas that are a little bit more trafficked by your pets or by people like we do. So we have our robots, for example, clean our walkway, which tends to be the area where most people come in and out. And it's also the place where our dogs go in and out. So we want to keep it clean. We want to mop it. And one of the cool things about this robot is that the floor remains streak-free. So no spots, no streaks. Does an excellent job. Let's see it in action. Now, the first thing that you'll notice about the robot is that it's relatively compact, at least the docking station is. The robot itself is pretty standard size, and it's the size of what I would see with many robots. But the docking station itself is compact. It's going to be very discreet, and this is something that surprises me because it's going to be able to store up to 45 days of debris. Now, this is not a combo robot. It's not the type of robot that has a clean water tank and a dirty water tank as it's cleaning the floor, although it does have a mop module, which you're going to see in a couple seconds, that will allow you to mop the floor with the microfiber towel that it has. Now, let's take a closer look at the robot and some of the features. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is that the docking station itself does have a clear, on-ramp. It's a very low profile, and it really doesn't go up, but it kind of helps guide the robot when it's going back into its position. That's a must-have, and it's also going to keep your docking station standing up. Now, you'll notice that there's some contact points at the very bottom right there, and that's where your charging takes place, so you can see the power area. Now, the robot itself does have a LiDAR at the very top, has 3 buttons, power button, home button type buttons. It does have in the front bumpers, right, that as it's going through and it's navigating and doing its initial, I would say, map, it may bump into somewhat. I noticed that from the robot, but once it's done the mapping of the place, of your location, I didn't see it really bumping. It was more like hugging the walls as I was going through. You have your whiskers that you're going to see in a couple seconds in the bottom. And then over here, if I open this up and we'll flip this around, what you'll notice is that you're going to find this is your dustbin. This is where all of the debris is going to be stored. And it's something that's easy to remove. But frankly, this is not something that you're going to be removing much because it's going to auto empty, right? So that's really nice. There's really not much that you'll do here, but there's a reset button right there that if you need to reset, you can, but you could also reset it by pressing these 2 buttons here at the same time. So that's really nice. Now, in the front of it, what you're going to notice right here is that you have these 2 contact points. Those are the contact points that meet with the actual charging station, and also it facilitates the emptying. So as it connects, this area right here is going to suck out all of that debris for you. Now, this is the actual cleaning mop solution, and really with this, it's pretty straightforward. It has some buttons here on the side, but once you snap this into place, if there's water in the water reservoir, it's going to go ahead and moisten this and then go over your floor. Now, this is not vibrating, this is not rotation, this is just like if you were taking a Swiffer and just cleaning the floor, that's what you're going to get. That being said, we haven't really noticed spotting, streaking. So it does a relatively good job, but it's not the kind that's going to vibrate. Also, if you have a combination of hardwood and carpet, it's recommended that you don't really have this on. It doesn't really have the lift features that you may see in some other robots. This is really designed for someone that has let's say, a single type floor, a 2-type floor, tile, and wood. Now, if you're curious as to where the actual cleaning mop goes, basically it's going to be stored right here. It snaps into place, and pretty much then you're set to go, right? What I'd recommend is that you basically you fill this with water after you put the actual base into place, because this right here can actually go here without the actual bottom in place. And we'll go ahead and snap that in so you can see how this works, right? So you can have that in place right there. And then this area right here, which is going to be your water tank, what you'll want to do is make sure that you fill it up and you seal it, right? Because you do have this little cap here, right? That will keep the water from pulling out. But I just think as a habit, I'd rather put this in with the robot on its other side, not on its back. Now, as you take a look at the app with the one pass, you do a quick scan. And once it did the quick scan, it was able to kind of map out my first floor. And you do have the ability to work in zones. So you can actually take an area and say, hey, I want you to clean this area only, and then highlight it. So let's go ahead and bring this up right here. We'll drag this down. And then what you can say, hey, that's a zone that I want to work with. You also have the ability to work with rooms, right? So you can say, hey, that's a room that I wanted to clean, and then send it to work there. You also have various cleaning modes that you can work with. So you have suction is going to be quiet all the way up to very intense. You then also have your water level disbursement, and then you have this boost IQ that's going to, adjust based on the floor type. Now, the thing that you can do is you can set up no-go zones, you can edit the rooms, you can put in a cleaning sequence for the orders, and then you could also do a rotation. You also have within the actual setting area, and we'll get out of this for a second so you can see that right here, you do have the ability to manage your maps, set schedules, look at your cleaning history, look at manual controls, voice settings, robot settings, do firmware updates, and then look at your accessories. I really like the scheduling area because here what you could do is you can add a schedule so that the robot automatically starts cleaning when you'd like it to. Now, the robot is relatively quiet. I'm just going to stay quiet, and I basically send it back home so that you can hear it working as it's going back to the docking station. We're going to stay quiet, and we'll just listen. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to test out this robot, and we have somewhat of an obstacle course to see how well it does. Now, keep in mind that the firmware is being updated. This is a first look, so we're going to see if it's able to negotiate what's going on and also pick up the Rice Krispies that I have or Captain Crunch is kind of mushed on the floor. And it's going over it, and wow, it did pretty good on that. It's probably going to have to go back to pick up the rest, but it did pretty good there. Now, again, this is a first look, so there's a lot to be improved when it comes to the firmware. One of the things I would have liked to have seen is that the robot would have negotiated that gym shoe and not really just pushed it aside. So let's see if it comes back and how well it does. All right, so here it goes again, and we're going to see how well it does, see if it sees the gym shoe. Well, that time it didn't plow into it, which is much better, but it's still nudging it. I'd like to see it kind of like not push it, but just work around it. All right, so it's going to go through. Let's see if it sees that one. Oh, it touched it and it stopped. So clearly there's some improvements to be made with the new firmware as firmware comes through. All right, let's see how well it does picking up the rest of the cereal. All right, so it's cleaned that up. There it goes. It's picking everything up. So what you're noticing is that the robot first starts doing the corners, and then it starts going through the center. So you'll see it how it's just going through that. All right. It looks pretty good. It's leaving a little inside of the cracks, the actual grout. But we could adjust that by heightening the suction, because right now it's in quiet mode. Now, one of the things that's happening at the same time that you may not be aware of, or it's not easily to notice, is that it's also mopping at the same time. And this is really good because you're not seeing a terrible amount of liquid being dropped on the floor, which means that you're not going to get spots, you're not going to get streaks. So it's mopping and it's cleaning at the same time. So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.